Alright, hello all you crazy people out there, this is DragoniteSpam and welcome back to making tower defense game in Game Maker Studio. Alright, I still don't really know what I should be calling this series, but let's go with that. So let's see. I'm going to run this real quick and do a bit of a review of what has been here since the last video. There are towers, there are enemies, and that's about it. And in this part, I don't really have any particular idea of what I want to do here, but I suppose a good place to start would be implementing a sort of live system so that you game over if you let too many things through. So I'm going to go into, let's see, I believe the controller is what takes care of most of the things. So this is where I'll keep all the, my chair is very loud, where I'll keep all the game variables and stuff. So I'm going to say, can I say, okay, that's a reserved word in Game Maker and I don't really want to use that. I could, it's just a built-in variable that I could use, but I'd like to avoid that because that can lead to complications with names and stuff if you're not careful, because it's automatically a global variable. So I'm gonna say, how about this, round lives. I really would like to just be able to say lives equals 10, but oh well. Too bad you can't like delete the usage of a reserved word or whatever. Anyway, let's see next. It would be good to go and see when the enemy gets to the end of the path before they delete themselves or when they delete themselves. It doesn't really matter because all the code's going to be executed all the same. We're going to be saying controller dot round lives minus equals 1. That's okay. So that should just keep a counter of how many lives I have. And see, I'm also going to draw this variable on the screen. I could use the draw event. I could use the draw GUI event. I'm just going to use the draw event because it's a little bit simpler. I'm going to say I need to talk slower. Draw text in the upper right corner. We're going to say lives equals this variable. Okay, so that should work. And now, once this runs, I'm not going to go and create any towers immediately. Perfect, the text is where I want it to be. I'm probably going to make that a little prettier later, but right now I don't really care what it looks like. And these guys get to the end, and this all decrements, and it should hit 0 and keep going. Yeah, all right, no funny business. And now, let's see. We're going to subtract a life from the game, and now when you hit 0. I suppose this really should go in its own function, its own script, its own whatever you want to call it, method, function, script, because you don't know, it could be called from any number of places and you never want to copy and paste code when you're programming. So for now, let's see, did I, okay, so I only have a value of 8 here for HP. It is very common in tower defense games for the stronger enemies to remove more lives from your total than the weaker enemies. So I'll probably handle that later, but for now, for the sake of keeping things simple, I'm going to take this. I'm going to just make another function, remove lives, and this is going to go. I'm going to go make my. This is only the first script I've made so far. Wow. We're going to call it remove lives, and we're going to say controller.lives minus equals 1, and if if you have 0 or fewer lives, we're going to game over. So we're just going to say show message that. Okay, that's not even a very professional game over message, but it's going to happen. Let's see. I'm going to cut away to when this actually happens to make sure I'm not insane. All right, perfect. That's going to happen every single time something passes through. This should be followed by something in the nature of a game restart. Is that still a function? Okay, that's still a function. I guess I'll go test this very quickly too. Alright, wonderful. And the game is restarted. I do want to be careful with this line here, the game restart line, because in the past, I don't know exactly why, but in the past I've had some instances where Game Maker didn't restart the game properly. And it kept some objects, some resources, some variables around from the old run of the game, and it screwed things up. I don't know why that happened. I don't know if they fixed that bug or not, but all the same, I do want to be careful with this function here. Next, what else should I do? It might be a good idea, let's see, to limit waves. And let's see, that's round lives. Okay, so next I'm going to define a wave. A wave of enemies being, of course, one group of the same kind, or one group of multiple kind in some games. You could have mixed types. But I'm going to define a wave. So now, how do I want to go about doing this? Okay, ignore the cut there. I screwed something up, and by that I mean I gave a bunch of variables similar names, and it was being a problem. So first I'm going to define an array that's going to basically keep track of how many enemies are going to spawn in every wave. So simply enough, I'm going to call this wave count, and it's going to be an array, and the first one's going to be how about 10. We're going to spawn 10 enemies in the first wave. The next variable I'm going to need is a variable to tell the game which actual wave the game is currently on. So I'm going to say wave. I'm going to just give this a simple number equals 0. No, it's not going to be 0. It's going to be -1 because right now we haven't actually started the game yet. And saying wave equals 0 would imply that we are currently running this one, which we are not. And the third variable is going to tell us how many enemies are going to be remaining in the wave, and I'm going to call this enemies remaining. That's kind of a long variable name. I'm just going to initialize it to 0 right now. It doesn't matter what it's going to be, because here I'm going to say if. All right, filled in some code there. If enemies remaining is 0, that means the next wave needs to start. I'll put that in a comment because it's kind of important, and I really should get in the habit of commenting my code better than I have been in the past. We're going to say wave ++, we're going to move to the next one, or we're going to move to wave 0 if we haven't started yet, and this statement. So the enemies remaining is going to get assigned to the value of however many enemies are in the wave here. All right, so this also leaves the problem with this sets up the round, but it doesn't actually start it. And I could put this on another timer. I could just say reset the alarm like I did here, and copy and paste in code. I'm not going to copy and paste it. I'm going to, for now, move it out here. So it's going to happen in both cases, regardless. And that's going to have the effect of giving a 1 second delay between waves, which is kind of nice, I guess. So I'm just going to start this, and we're going to do this, and it's going to keep going actually, because I hope you all caught that before I did. We didn't actually decrement this value, so it's going to keep spawning infinitely because there's no stopping condition. But now, if we subtract 1 from the enemies remaining every time we spawn one, then it's eventually going to reach this number, and this is going to happen. Now, this is going to crash the game after the first wave, but I'm going to run it anyway, just so for no real reason other than that I can watch it happen. And this is a lot of things going on at once here. How many left? Yeah, there we go. It's going to cause an error that says out of range, and that's because this is looking for an index in this array that does not exist. And the best way to handle this would be I'm going to go into here, and I'm going to say if array length 1D of wave count if wave is less than the size of this array. And let's see, I'm going to put that in a block. And what this is going to do is it's only going to increment the variable until you've reached the end of the array. And so the first time around, wave is going to be -1. The length of the array is going to be 1. And it's going to evaluate true. This is going to happen. Wave is going to increment. Second time around, wave is going to equal 0 rather. The length of the array is going to equal 1. It's going to return true again, and it's going to increment the value again, and it's going to crash the game anyway because it's trying to go 1 more than the length of the array. So here what I want to do is I want to have if 1 more than the current wave is less than the length of the array. Anyway, let's run the game again, and it shouldn't crash this time. Hopefully. If it does, then I'm a failure of a computer scientist. We're going to do this. We're going to spam some towers just to make sure that this goes quickly. I haven't been counting the number of red boxes that have happened, but we shouldn't be having any problems. Yes, that's the last one. And the game has not crashed, which is what we want. Now, I'm going to go and just define a few more of these. Let's say wave count How about round 1? Well, round 2, index 1 is going to be a 15, and that's space shouldn't be in there. The second one is going to be, I can't spell, it's going to be a 20. And just so that I can keep track of how many are remaining, I'm going to draw this down here as well. So draw text. How about 32, 64? So right under this one, we're going to say wave number. Going to need one of those fancy things because escape sequences. This is going to be string of wave. And under that, let's see, how about 96? So under the wave number, we're going to say remaining, and that's going to I want a space instead of space. This is going to be enemies remaining, and this is going to it's going to tell us what's going on. Let's see, wave has started. We're doing this. I'm going to speed this up a little bit just so that you can see it go by faster. Alright, very nice. That did exactly what it was supposed to do. It didn't crash, it didn't go skip anything, which is a possibility if you're not careful with the condition in here. I'm thinking probably the best way to handle this would be, let's see, if you're currently in the middle of a wave, spawn the next one in 1 second, and if you're not currently in the middle of a wave, if you're going to start the next one, spawn the first enemy in that wave in like 5 seconds, so it gives you a little bit of breathing room. So I'm going to say reset the alarm to 4 times room speed, and that should give a little bit more space between waves, which is not a bad thing at all. Actually, let's see, would it be wise to have like a timer for how long it is until the next wave? That would be a mathematical expression. No, I'm not going to do that. That sounds like math, and I'll deal with that later. Okay, so anyway, there's been a fair amount of progress here. There are now defined waves of enemies. There are now a life system, so that you can die if you let too many things through. This feels like a good place to leave it off. And next week, I will probably be messing around with different types of enemies, different types of towers, maybe even. As usual, if you're interested in this, my project file will be up for download in the description of this video. But for now, I hope you all enjoyed that. Rate, comment, and subscribe, watching the stuff I have uploaded, and I will see you all later.